Tyron Woodley, Colby Covington. It goes down Saturday, September 19th, Las Vegas. It's a welterweight affair. I'm going to break it all down right here, right now. This is your boy, JG, Exaggeration and Experience. Let's go. Like I said before, y'all, welcome back to the channel. If you have not had an opportunity to do it just yet, like, subscribe, bell icon for notification. Let's get it popping. Now, like I said before in the jump, Tyron Woodley looks to redeem himself. Colby Covington looks to redeem himself. I'm going to break this fight all the way down. Get into some of the storylines, but more of the combat sports aspect of it. So right off top, I start with Colby Covington. Last time we saw him December 19th, or December 4th, 2019, against Kamaru Usman. It started off as a good bout, you know. He has moments here and there, but at the end of the day, Kamaru Usman too big, too strong, too accurate with his strikes, broke his face all up, dropped him, punished him, embarrassed him a little bit. You know, he ran up out of the ring. He didn't even stay for, no chit chat. After the bout was over, he ran up out of there. So that's the last time we've seen Colby Covington inside the octagon. So like I said before, December 4th, 2019, that's a pretty long layoff. It's September now. So, flirting with about a year's time. Shout out to Kamaru Usman. Woodley's had a tough go at himself. As we know, he lost a strap to Kamaru Usman after defending it multiple times. He has a comeback fight against a dude who was hot. So I got to give credit where credit's due, because when you take a tough loss, sometimes you want to take a cupcake, a little dude, you can roll up real quick. Gilbert Burns has been murdering people at the welterweight division after coming up from 155. He takes on Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns gives Woodley work. But I want to say this about that bout. Woodley got his ass whooped, but it was a good loss. And you might be thinking, well, what is that? What is a good loss? Explain that to me. He got hurt really early in the fight, got dropped, got cut. I believe he got mounted as well, was taking vicious punishment and survived that and made it throughout the rest of the bout, while inflicting some damage and some pain on himself. But I think that's the kind of fight that you need to have after coming off such a brutal loss at Usman, that lets you know, okay, I can get in here and compete still. Yeah, I got my ass whooped, but I ain't quit. That kind of helps to build the confidence. And then you go back to your coach or your camp and you reassess what happened, what went wrong, or things you can grow in and where you can improve. Let's get into the fight on hand. Tyron Woodley, Colby Covington, and the challenges they present to each other. So what do we know about Tyron Woodley? He is a beast, a physical freak. He's a specimen. It has served him up until very, very recently in his bouts, where the right hand's been landing. He's been hurting guys, knocking people out. They fed him Darren Till. Darren Till was supposed to be the next dude. He got folded. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, tremendous fighter, one of my favorite fighters, fought Woodley twice. Some say the first fight was boring, more of a technical matchup, but still a great fight where he was able to drop Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And the second fight, a lot more of the same, but it's just a tremendous fight because Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, he's not a clown, he's no joke. So and that fight for me, it was telling, because we got to see really the best version of Tyron Woodley, counter striking, slipping shots, throwing uppercuts, all the strikes. Something I feel like as of late, recently, he's gotten away from. He wants to sit, load that right hand, drop the left hand low, and wait for that big shot. You got to set that up, because the cats are checking for that now. You done knocked out so many people with that shit, Cats is checking for that right hand. And switching sides, you look at Colby Covington. This is kind of an interesting breakdown, because you're talking about a guy who at one point in time in the UFC had a 7-fight winning streak. But along the way, he only stopped one guy. Punches third round, Max something. I can't remember his name. Anyway, he only stopped one guy. All UDs and maybe a sub in there somewhere, but he's not coming to knock you out. That's why I think it's interesting. I'm going to knock somebody out and decapitate somebody and do all this extra. You don't do that. That's not your bag. You're a pressure fighter, a volume fighter. I think he has a bout against, made him in Rafael dos Anjos, where he threw like 504 punches, something stupid. He's a volume fighter, pressure fighter, but he's not going to be the type of guy who's putting 1 and 2 strikes on you and damaging you to the point where you can't continue, outside of a couple or the one isolated instance. So I look at the two dynamics between the fighters and I think, how does it play out? If Tyron Woodley shows up and he does not load that right hand and he varies his attack, I think about the Carlos Condit fight. He broke my man down with leg kicks. He also did it to Josh Koscheck before he knocked him out with the right hand. He was throwing the leg kick. He was showing way more versatility in the past up until recently than he's been showing now, which is slightly confusing. I feel like with Colby Covington, you know what you're going to get. A dude that's going to come forward. A couple of times he's going to drop that head, throw a right, throw a left behind it, overhand shots with a heavy left hook, and press forward. I don't think the wrestling matchup, which typically favors Colby Covington, I don't see that favoring him in this matchup. I just don't. And if it's a stand-up affair, it might be similar to the Kamaru Usman bout where Colby Covington was landing his shots. He was doing his thing, but Usman was so big and strong, his stuff just meant so much more, and he wore it on his face. I mean, my man Colby Covington was looking like a victim out there. Shout out to Kamaru Usman again. But what I would like to see from Tyron Woodley is getting back to a more varied, more variety in his attack. We already know you got that yapper, that right hand that just explodes people's face. We know you got that. Set that jab up, go back to that low 10, threaten with the wrestling release, more feints, give your opponent more things to think about when you get in there. And then the rest will take care of itself. I mean, he already has a crazy ass resume. His resume is stupid. So it's not to be debated. Now, what are the implications? Now, if you look at Tyron Woodley's last 2 losses, okay, you got your belt took by undefeated fighter Kamaru Usman, who since defended that belt against Masvidal. Okay, cool. So he's the champ. He's still doing his thing. Then you ran up against Gilbert Burns, who's hot. Now, he dominated you, but you had some moments in there that was cool. That's what's up. Colby Covington, you coming off of almost a year layoff, fighting Tyron Woodley. You got tore up by Usman. Cool, we know that. So what's on the line? I'm not the UFC. I'm not a matchmaker, but I can say this. I feel like if Colby Covington gets rolled up, it won't matter as much because of how he's branded. Talking all that junk, Trump this and Trump that. Cass will still be checking to see either him get his ass whooped or see him win. For Woodley, especially being an older fighter, you got 2 losses in a row against 2 good fighters. I don't think Colby Covington's on his level. So if you take a loss to Colby Covington, you have to start reevaluating what you're doing here in the UFC. Or switch camps or do something different. Like for this camp, we know we brought in Masvidal. So that's an adjustment. I think that's a good thing, a different look, a different feel. Somebody that can bring something different to the table. So that's always a welcome thing. But I think there's more pressure for this particular bout on Tyron Woodley than there is on Colby Covington. And I just don't, I'd be interested to see what other people would say, other commentators, experts, people who are within the sport. I'll check for what they have to say in a little bit. But for me, in my assessment, Colby can come out here and get knocked out, and it just won't matter. He'll get up and say he got lucky, and the cat's like, yeah, he got lucky. He was lucky. It just won't matter. For Woodley, I feel like there's a lot more on the line, so it's important for him to be able to get this done. Now, as far as title shots are concerned, outside of something fantastic happening, I feel like for Woodley, if you go 1-2 in your last 3, I don't think that warrants a title shot, in my opinion. I know that if Colby Covington wins, they're going to want to give him a title shot, but why? You already got folded by Usman. So you come in, you beat Woodley, then fight Usman again. Or Burns, because I know they made the Burns Usman fight when I feel like Gilbert Burns earned that fight. But anyway, I guess at this point in the video, I'm gonna offer my prediction. Tyron Woodley is a better fighter. He's a better fighter than Colby Covington. But if he comes in predictable, he'll lose. I think he'll lose. If he tries to wait to land a big shot, Colby Covington's the type of fighter who put a lot of pressure on you, land shots. Maybe they're not hurting you or getting you out of there, but it adds up in the judge's eyes and you can end up taking a loss. If he comes in and he varies his attack, he switches it up, he makes Colby Covington think and lands big shots, he'll win. I think he'll win actually fairly easily. But on the other side of the coin, with Colby Covington, he comes in, he comes forward, he marches. He's not a big power guy, so if he just stays smart, uses good lateral movement, doesn't get caught with anything big, he can win this fight. But he is more in danger of getting caught slipping, getting stopped with some silly shit than Woodley is. So he's going to have to be a little more intelligent from that perspective, ensuring that he doesn't put himself in harm's way of that big shot. But we'll see what happens. Shout out to both those guys. Looking to see if Woodley can get that bounce back, 2 losses in a row. After being the champ and defending that belt against the best of the best. Got to give him credit for that. And we'll see what's up with Colby Covington. Along his run, he had some good victories, and there's some guys who may have been a little bit past their prime, but a lot of decisions and no stoppages, 1 stoppages and 6 wins. I think it's going to take a lot for him to get a guy like Woodley out the door. So we'll see if he has what it takes to muster up a victory and get the job done. But I'll be coming back with some more heat. Like I said before, like, subscribe, bell icon for notification. This is your boy JG, Exaggeration and Experience. Shout out to my man Double M. We out.